Hi guys, welcome back to 10-Minute Reviews. Jason here, bringing you today's video. As you can tell, different background. Amy is off to the side, she's feeling a little under the weather, and we'd be kind of cramped here. Our library is off limits right now because the kid is out like a light, and waking up a 6-year-old would be a real bad idea as far as trying to put him back to sleep again. Especially since he knows I have donuts and stuff up here. So we're doing this in a little bit quieter, tucked away in the corner with one of our bookshelves. Anyway, please hit the like and subscribe buttons, guys. We have a ton of content coming out. We're talking about all kinds of different genres. Just did one on Western. So we're talking about every genre, every author, every book that we can, that we have read, which is hundreds, if not thousands. And today I want to talk about an author that we've already talked about once before, in a genre that I am somewhat of a fan of. My wife is definitely not a fan of, but one of his second series. I talked about one of his other series before. I want to talk about Bruce Sentar. I've talked about him once before. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. I don't know if it's Sentar or Center. But Bruce Sentar, and I want to talk about his Saving Supervillains series. So far there's only 2 books in the series, but I can tell you that I got an alert when the second one came out and read it within 4 hours. And I was working when I got that alert. So I was just dying for book 2 to come out. But I'm here to talk about book 1. So I'm talking about Saving Supervillains by Bruce Sentar. I'm going to talk about 4 things as usual. I'm going to talk about the world, I'm going to talk about the character, I'm going to talk about the plot, and I'm going to talk about the writing style. So this falls into the harem lit genre, which I'm not sure if I already mentioned. Also falls into the superhero fiction genre. The thing about a lot of the harem lit books is they obviously have to fall into one of the various genres. And the way I always look at it is if you were to not edit, but just go in and rip out the pages with the adult action, would you still have a fantastic and awesome book to read? In Bruce Sentar's case, in Saving Supervillains, absolutely. This would still be a very gripping, very engaging, awesome book. Little gripping book, little tickling book.
You know what I mean.
So, yeah, if you know what I mean. So, Saving Supervillains is the world. The world is ours-ish. A lot of things have changed about the world due to the superpowers. There's, of course, superpowers in it. Now, the superpowers, a lot of people have superpowers, some lesser, some greater, supposed to be registered and known, which I will talk a little bit more about when I get into character. But you basically have these city-states, and mostly wastelands in between these city-states, partially because of the 5, I believe it was 5, Titans. They are super-powered creatures that are basically on the level of gods. So, they're basically unbeatable, absolutely unbeatable. So, these city-states kind of have to protect and control themselves and govern themselves and supply themselves. So the main character, is named Miles, I believe. I'll double check my notes because it's been a while since I read it. Yeah, Miles. So Miles. Now, Miles is an interesting character because he registered himself, but he registered himself with a very minor bit of superpowers, and he's a middle manager. That's all he is. He's a middle manager at a marketing firm. That is his job. But the marketing is done for the superheroes. He mostly markets for the superheroes. And another thing about this world is something that caused the superpowers also caused birth rates to change. And it's one of the things that I find interesting in that this is one of the few harem-lit books that actually puts in a reason for it. They talk about how at this point the ratio of males to women is somewhere around
Males to women?
Yeah, males to females is somewhere around 1 to 6. Basically 6 women for every male. And the research shows that 20 years from now it's going to be 1 to 7. And then go to 1 to 8. So the population is declining. One of the amusing things about it is that he flips a few things on its head. For instance, Miles, the male main character, finds his ass getting grabbed on the subway a lot. Finds himself getting whistled at and catcalled. Finds himself getting
roles have reversed.
Sexually harassed because the roles have reversed. Now women are there's not just more of them, but you got to figure if there's 6 women for every guy, you're looking at
Competition's pretty stiff.
you're looking at not just how men being a very hot commodity, but also you're looking at women, therefore taking over pretty much every aspect of society. The government, police, management, everything. So yeah, roles are definitely reversed, which I find very, very interesting. But the thing about Miles is he's hiding a secret, naturally. He is, as is eventually revealed, probably the most powerful super on the planet. And in fact, he eventually proves himself to be
God.
Titan level.
Oh.
He does eventually meet others that are pretty close to his level, but that's in the subsequent book. Well, in the second book. So in the first book, he's basically shown to be Titan killing level. He actually solo kills a Titan at one point. Now, he ends up, because of his power enables him to basically see what causes the powers in everybody. He can see the energy. He calls it chi, and he can control it. He can take their powers away, give them their powers back, enhance their powers, make them stronger, make them weaker. So he's safe from most power. Most powers can't touch him because he can just disperse the energy. So he ends up, kind of by accident, more curiosity than anything else, saving somebody who is wanted by the law, is a super that's basically walking death, and is able to figure out why and help them control their power. And it turns out they're very, very, very strong. And they want to become superheroes, so they go to the governing body that pretty much controls all of government at that point. However, this woman that he has saved from being, walking death, has pretty much bonded to him and refuses to work with anybody else. So this guy that's trying to hide from the supers, because he's actually wanted for 40 years prior, killing the most powerful super out there. Now, at the time, it was self-defense. That super had gone crazy, but in the interest of public relations and keeping mass panic from happening, they lied and said that he was killed by this other person who happened to have been Miles. He's changed his appearance, and obviously he can make himself look younger than he should be. So he's been hiding from the heroes, and now all of a sudden they need to hire. He needs to be the manager, the kind of the controller that's working with this superpowered agent. And he doesn't really like it, but he kind of ends up getting sucked into it, and thus begins the harem. So obviously, of course, he ends up banging her, and then ends up saving another supervillain and banging them, and then kind of saving the world when he manages to, well, one, kill a Titan, but also manages to stop and control a mind-controlling super. And that's actually where the book kind of kicks off, or gets its plot idea from, or at least the series, because it's going to be a series, where he is only willing to work for this agency if he is allowed to help rehabilitate the villains. He wants to, the ones, because he was wrongfully accused, and he wants to help those that either had no choice, like the one that was walking death, it was just what her power was doing, or others that were coerced, forced for whatever reasons. He wants to help the ones that are able to turn around. And that's where saving supervillains comes from. The mentalist one basically ends up with an ankle monitor, but is able to, is also a psychiatrist. So they're a mentalist, but they were a trained psychiatrist first. And of course he adds her to the harem. Then there's a superpowered superhero from another city that he enhances her powers by necessity, fighting a Titan. She ends up obsessed with him, comes to the city looking for him, and that, as far as their storyline goes, that's as far as it goes in saving supervillains. One, which is all I'm going to talk about, the writing style. The writing style is excellent. Bruce Sentar writes a very, very gripping, very, very, very engaging novel. This is, again, one of my favorite series, because you could tear those adult pages right out of the book, and you would still have an incredibly fascinating, engaging book to read. As much as my wife makes fun of me for reading these, she's also noticed that there are times I'm reading them where I'm just tapping the page button on my Kindle over and over and over again. It's because the books like Bruce Sentar writes are so engaging as far as their plot goes, that when I get to the adult action, a lot of times I just want to skip past it to get to find out the resolution of the plot that is going on. And mostly she's just joking around anyway, likes to give me crap.
Laurel K. Hamilton is reverse harem.
And, you know, Laurel K. Hamilton, who my wife reads, is basically reverse harem.
Women
So-
with all the pieces.
There you guys go. One of my favorite Bruce Sentar books has turned into a series. Thank you everybody for watching. We appreciate all of every one of you guys. I am having one of those days, usually in the middle of the nights when I'm most awake. Thank you everybody for watching. Please hit the like and subscribe buttons down below. We will catch you guys next time. Bye now.